I've been looking forward to this Imperial Dropship and Rebel Scout Speeder set for a while now. As someone who owned the original battle packs from 2008, it's really cool to see a modern design put onto those classic battle pack vehicles. Because as iconic as they are, they were in desperate need of some makeovers. At $40 though, a lot of people are calling it an overpriced battle pack, which I sort of get if you're still hanging on to old battle pack prices. If we look at current prices and their value, Jedi Bob Starfighter is priced the same at $40 but provides much less. So I think I'm okay with the price on this set. What I'm not okay with is the downsizing. The original battle pack vehicles held 4 and 5 minifigures respectively, but these new ones only hold 3 troopers maximum. Which works for the Scout Speeder. This makes sense with 3 people, but the Imperial Dropship does not. An entire flying ship with a single pilot just to drop off 2 people into combat? That seems impractical. However, I'm not blind to the fact that the set only comes with 3 figures per faction, so regardless of its small capacity, you can still fill it out completely, no empty seats right out of the box. But I still wanted something better, so I made it. Using 2 sets, this is the Heavy Imperial Dropship and Rebel Transport Speeder. Now I typically try to do some part swapping in the minifigure department alongside the alternate build, but both factions just have the same minifigures, so I can't really do much. But as far as the anniversary figures and their stands go, I did keep one stand completely intact, besides the 2x4 plate that you use to attach it to other stands. I needed that for the build. Then the other stand got scrapped for the same plate, plus the 2 archway pieces, but the plaque itself isn't used anywhere in the builds. And speaking of, let's finally take a look at them, starting with the one I built first, the Rebel Transport Speeder. This is a lightly armed but heavily armored transport that semi-comfortably fits all your rebels. And I say semi-comfortably because they do all fit, even with their weapons, it's just very tight. The pilot is the only one that doesn't hold a weapon, and this co-pilot or gunner person can hold the weapon, but they also have some control panels they could use as well. And I'm honestly not entirely sure what this person's role even is. They aren't a co-pilot because it's a speeder, and they don't need to be a gunner. There's only 2 fixed cannons on this thing, so I imagine the pilot can handle those just fine. What I really want this seat to be for is for Rebel commanders to use this speeder as a makeshift forward operations post so they can survey and command the battle from safety. But you can make them whatever you want. Getting all the rebels inside is easy enough, the pilot and commander fit in just fine, but the 2 behind the commander have to have their arms against the wall raised up a little bit so that they're fully studded into the seat. The 2 behind the pilot don't have this problem though, because their arms fit just perfectly underneath the archway. The exterior of the speeder is very simple. I used a ton of slope pieces and their stickers for that added detail to build up the armor plating. Then we have these blasters on either side that we saw earlier, which can move a bit, but they're meant to face forward. Then on the rear of the speeder, we've got 4 thrusters and a ladder in the center for loading up your troopers. And only loading up. I don't think the troopers would exit into battle off the ladder. I more so think they'd just hop the sides and slide off the speeder. But that covers everything for our rebels, so now let's look at the Empire. I liked the dropship from the set already, but as I said earlier, dropping off just 2 troopers was not enough for me. So I decided I'll simply make a bigger, better dropship. Similar to the transport speeder, the front end is almost unchanged from the original set. The cockpit is the same, and this section behind it is slightly modified to put some stud shooters on the sides and these small flaps on the bottom. Then there's also some clips to hold some minifigure blasters too. The top of the ship is where we start seeing the additions. We've got 1 missile tube on either side underneath some flaps on top, with the main thrusters attached to the same assembly. Then between the thrusters, there's this trident of fins that surrounds an exhaust vent, and I love the sleek or sharp sort of look that it gives this end of the ship. And because we used all the stickers, there's Imperial logos all over this thing. But now for the drop part of the dropship. It clips into the ship the same way as the original set, with space for 5 minifigures, 2 on either side with 1 in the center, who sort of has to lay down, but I gave him a backrest so it works out. Beyond that, there's just a control panel for them to pull up any mission info once they've landed, or to signal a pickup when they're ready to leave. Then there's also 2 clips on the underside of the dropship to hang some of your minifigure blasters when they're sitting on the drop pad. But that covers our dropship and the alternate build. Let me know what you think of them down below, and if you want to build them for yourself, I have full PDF building instructions available on my Patreon page. I'm excited to be back in the groove of doing alternate builds after my move, and I'm actually about to move again, but the alternate builds will still come. And we're not quite done with the Empire. I think we'll be moving on to the Star Destroyer next. Leave your best guesses for what I'm doing with that set in the comments below.